So go hard or go home is often the mindset that we try to take to the gym, but does an effective workout really need to leave you sweaty and sore? Fitness trainer Blake Robinson says no, and he says the thought that exercise should leave you drained is just one of those popular myths out there surrounding how to measure a good workout. You've agreed to share more of these so-called workout myths. What's the goal here? The
goal here is to clarify, but at the end of this is to know how you're going to measure your workout. How are you going to know if did it actually work? Did you actually get anything out of it? Because a lot of what happens is anything that's on the fringes, anything that's on one side of the spectrum or the other, that's what everybody's going to talk about. That's what everybody's like, oh, no, this is how I know it works.
Because it's new and it feels buzzy.
It's new and that makes sense and everything burns and it sounds cool. I mean, a lot of the times people are just looking for whatever that kind of that unique thing is to them. But
so we're talking beyond the scale. I mean, we hope the numbers on the scale are going to go down.
So many beyond the scale, although we're even going to talk about that.
Oh, okay.
That I have actually a scale in my gym that we took a sledgehammer to because it's not one of the best ways to measure.
Oh, well, my interest has been piqued, and I have not cheated on this quiz.
I know, I'm excited.
I am a genuine, authentic student in this moment, so give it to me. Question number one.
Okay, so question number one, muscle weighs more than fat.
Yes, that's true. We hear that all the time. Muscle weighs more than fat.
It's false because a pound of muscle and a pound of fat are exactly the same. But here's the tricky thing. Here's the tricky thing.
This is going to be one of those
tricky thing is that muscle is denser.
Okay, thank you.
So it's going to be denser. It's going to take up less space. It's obviously going to look better. You're going to have better lines the more muscle you have and the less fat you have.
So what I'm getting at is a toned person could weigh as much, if not more. As
there have been so many videos. There's been so many images that I've seen recently, and I love it, of people saying, here's me at 110 pounds, here's me at 110 pounds, here's me at 170, here's at 170. The exact same weight and the dramatic difference of that person.
The body differences. It's kind of rude to talk about this to someone in my state, but
it's really not fair at all.
It's fine. Okay, so it doesn't weigh more than fat, it's just more dense than fat.
It's denser than fat, more compact.
Okay, I'm ready. Number two.
It's leaner. Number two, heart rate monitors are a good way to measure how hard you're working.
Ooh, now, even our KSL investigators did a piece on this, right? Testing those popular wristbands and whatnot. I'm going to say false.
Very true. That's it. So that's also making the assumption that every single 31-year-old is going to run at the same heart rate as Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps is 31 years old. That's saying that every single 31 across the board, because they're mainly based off of age.
Okay.
There are ways to modify, to basically put in your own information, and some of the more expensive heart rate monitors will allow you to do that. But as far as if it's giving you the correct information, there's been multiple times where any one of the heart rate monitors, it's like 60, you should be sleeping, but they're in a dead sprint. So it is not one of the best ways to know.
So from the monitors on the treadmill to the wristbands people are spending a lot of money on, you just say ignore it?
I'm saying that if you have it, if you're going to spend the money, get one that will allow you to put in some of your own information. And then there actually are treadmill tests. There are ways to know what your limits and what your heart rate zones are.
So customize it.
Exactly. Allows that customization, and then you'll be able to use it.
I'm 1 for 1, I think.
Okay, but hey, you're doing great. We've still got a few more. So a good indicator of progress is a well-fitted pair of pants.
A good indicator of, well, that depends on the size of your pants. What do you want me to say? A good indicator of progress
is a set of pants, like a pair of pants that you own.
I think a lot of women, and I put myself in this category, you have kind of your comfy pants and you have your skinny jeans, so I'm going to say yes. I don't know.
Correct.
Okay.
I honestly think that that's one of the best ways to measure your progress, because I tell people, I'm like, look, a scale can tell you, like, it can go up and down.
Thank you, yeah.
I can go up and down. So in a day, and I've done this before, I go up and down about 5 to 6 pounds from the morning to the night.
In one day?
In one day. And so that can vary. And so I always tell people, look, you can have a 100-pound bag of dirt, or you can have a 100-pound bag of gold.
Yeah.
Which one would you rather have?
Yes, the gold.
Bag of gold.
Bring it on.
Because a scale's not going to tell you the difference. Those pants, you're going to notice when those change.
Yeah.
You're going to notice when the circumferences are changing, which means you've gotten a little less dense, you've got a little more muscle.
I said to my husband just last week, actually, before I was getting dressed for church on Sunday, I said, I can't wait to fit into this skirt again, right? And that became like this skirt. Yeah.
And that is beautiful because it's like, as far as like hashtag, it's like hashtag non-scale victory.
Yeah.
It is one of the best ones that you can have because it doesn't give you this false number, this thing that's entirely hair, happiness. It's an actual pair of pants.
So far, I'm a good student so far.
You're doing really good.
Okay, bring it on.
The next one. So you shouldn't rely on a fitness tracker to measure calories burned. And I know that.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't.
We already talked about that.
Yeah, okay, done.
And so again, customization. You've got to be able to have a level of that.
Okay.
Number 5, a successful workout should be painful. No pain, no gain.
False.
True.
You shouldn't.
got it.
You don't have to
Sorry, you're
hurt,
right. It is false. You shouldn't. I know a lot of people like, look, if you go in and you go into the workout trying to put yourself in pain. I have so many people that have come to me that are hurt, that are injured from pushing themselves too far. Your body needs to be challenged.
Sure.
There's soreness, there's discomfort, there's a challenge. Never pain.
So how do you distinguish the two? The next morning, if I wake up after a good workout, I'm going to feel a little bit of pull.
You're going to be sore. You're going to be able to move. You might be a little bit slower, but it's not going to stop you in your tracks. Okay. I always tell people that if you're doing something and it's painful and literally you have to stumble or you have to stop what you're doing, that's your pain.
So it's soreness versus pain.
Exactly. Soreness is a part of it. Soreness is going to happen.
Okay.
But the pain is never something you should ever work towards. Next one. It's a good idea to measure progress by how much you lift.
It's a good idea to measure progress. Well, you're a trainer, and I know you promote lifting. I'm going to say true.
Yes.
Yes.
So if you're lifting more, a couple things have happened. Your muscles have either gotten smarter or they've gotten stronger, and you've basically improved.
So you constantly should be increasing weight if
you're trying to increase weight. It's not always at a consistent rate. So it's not every single month I go up, every single workout I go up, because you eventually will plateau. But if you're looking at it and seeing how much you lift, that is a really good indicator of, are you making progress? Are you improving? And I always tell people is like looking at how much you lift and then taking that into comparison with how much you weigh and then taking into those pant sizes and seeing how that skirt fits, you have a full picture of how strong you are.
And you know what, it's cool when that all connects. So I have a girlfriend who's a hardcore CrossFit athlete. I mean, she is like hardcore, right?
Yeah.
And her lifts weren't going up, right? In what's the word I'm looking for?
CrossFit or in her box
or whatever, her lifts. They weren't going up. And her trainer said you got to eat more.
Yes.
You know, to increase that muscle mass. And it totally worked. So seeing that all come together from the pant size to the food connection, it's just neat to see how the body functions.
It is, and there's been multiple times that I've seen people who, especially women and occasionally men, but they need to eat more to weigh less.
Isn't that interesting?
It is, because your body's smarter than we give it credit for. If you don't give it enough food, it's going to hold on to every ounce that you've got. It's not going to let any of it go.
Okay, 1 minute. How many questions do we have left?
So we're going to go really quick. A cold stomach. We're going to get this one. A cold stomach is a good sign of a workout.
So if you weren't watching the top of the show, one of our producers, Chelsea, brought this to our attention, and it was like when she mentioned it in our meeting, we were discussing this topic, Blake's coming on the show, there was like this stunned silence because I'd never heard that. I don't think anyone else in the room had heard that. Have you heard this one before?
I had never heard that one before. And I went back and I was like, okay, let's go through anatomy, human physiology, but I'm going to let you tell me.
I'm going to say false.
I'm going to go with you. It's false.
Okay.
So here's what happens is that you're going to have a cold stomach because the vast majority have a little bit of lining, a little insulation, if you will.
Some of us have more than others.
Some of us have
fine.
a lining. And so what happens is that as you're working out and as you're exercising, that blood is going out to where it's going to the muscles to get that. It's going through your circulatory system to get all of your nutrients there.
So your fat layer could
pulling away. So it's pulling
down?
away a lot of that heat and that circulation from that insulation from that fat layer.
All right,
it's not a good workout indicator.
It's not a measuring stick. One more.
The BMI is the best measure of health and fitness. Do you know what the BMI is?
Yes, I do. Body mass index.
You got it.
I'm going to say true.
False.
Ah, really?
It's the reason the BMI exists is it's a myth is because it's easy. They used it to, especially when they started doing mass healthcare and starting to get, a general understanding of the population, to get somebody's height and weight is easy.
But see, that's what my doctor's showing me at every appointment. So
every doctor shows that. According to the BMI, I'm about 35, 40 pounds overweight. I'm almost to the point of like overweight, unhealthy, obese.
So how do you recommend people measure then?
Body fat percentage.
Body fat percentage.
A reliable method of body fat percentage. There are, up at the university or even other places, they'll do bod pots, they'll do DEXA scans, or even just stepping away from the BMI, and that's saying that everybody that is of a certain height should weigh exactly the same, regardless of how much muscle mass you have or how much excess fat mass you may have. I always tell people, when you're looking at it, use a couple of combinations of things. Don't rely on a singular one. Not any one of these is necessarily bad or misleading, but it's take all of them in combination to get a really true picture of what how you're making progress.
Well, you're one of the healthiest, most fit guys I know, so knowing where you fall in that BMI, I think is proof in what you're saying. So thank you. This was really fun and interesting, and we learned a lot. And you're opening a new facility. It's in the works right now. It's really exciting.
We'll talk, as far as like once we have everything done and set, it's opening. It's happening, but we won't tell the date or when the time is. But if you ever want to know more about us, it's at evolvefitness.club.
All right, you're doing good things, helping people get healthier, one workout at a time. Thank you so much for helping us. We appreciate it.